It's me, the one and only Paul Friends, welcoming you to Starfleet Universe On Call. And tonight we have Barry. We also have Dave is sitting in the chat room, and currently there's no one on Twitch, but I just started the feed, so we'll just have to wait and see if anyone shows up there. But we are broadcasting this both on TalkShoe and Twitch, whichever one you want to be part of, that's fine. Obviously, you want to chat with other people. Most of those are in TalkShoe, but some of them actually do both. I know Dave actually enters both the Twitch stream and the chat room there, and the chat room over on TalkShoe. And obviously, if you want to join us in voice-wise, you can either call us on the phone, or you should be able to link up on the TalkShoe website, but you need to have the Chrome browser running. Otherwise, it will not work at all. So just to remind you of said fact. And with that, hey, Barry.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing good.
So
we
I went through my library of stuff and discovered that I did not have, apparently when I did the LMC, I had purchased Module C5 as paper many years ago. And I'd never scanned in that paper rule book. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, crap. So unlike the Omegas, I needed to have a copy of the rules to look at them. So it's like, okay. Because I was reading through my, I did a strategy guide, like 8 years ago. I'm rereading the strategy guide and it's saying stuff. It's like, oh, okay. And so it's like, I better buy the rules. So I bought the rules. And the
not too expensive on Warehouse 23, yeah.
That's the whole point of E23. So there's a couple of things we forgot to mention last week about the Magadiem.
And what's that?
Okay, first of all, there's the shielding. It's a little different than I had remembered it. So with the LMCs, you cannot do general reinforcement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, only specific reinforcement, and only the outer shields. And obviously, repairing the LMC shields is they have the VRF, which makes it they take less damage. There's less shielding, but they take less damage because of the VRF. But reinforcement is more expensive. But repair is cheaper. And not only is the inner shield repair cheaper, because that's pretty obvious, 1 point of power, 1 point of shield box back, but the outers actually are cheaper to repair. Because even though it's 2 points of power for each box back, just like Galactics,
right?
But remember, if you put 4 points of power in, you get 2 boxes back and 1 VRF back. So for 4 points of power, you really got 3 boxes back, not 2.
Oh, okay, yeah, you got a point there.
So yeah, so reinforcement is or regeneration of your shields is
right. Repairing of the shields,
cheaper.
Yes, yeah,
yes, and you can put 4 points into outers and 4 points into inners on the same turn. So if you've got a lot of power, you can bring your shields back quick.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because
some
of these have pretty good power, because like the Eneen that we're going to be going over tonight has 42 points of power.
That's all correct.
Of course, it needs all of those 42, but we'll get to that.
Well, I know that. Yeah, we'll get to that. The other interesting thing is that 1 point of power raises your outers, 1 point of power raises your inners. And that's a distinction that it's not like the Galactics where you have minimum shields that nobody uses because they're so weak.
Mm-hmm.
This one, if you can save a point of power and just raise the outers or the inners, your choice. And the outers or the inners are strong enough that it's like, yeah, okay, if I'm not expecting the range to get too low, why not just save a point of power and not power the ones I don't think I'm going to need? And if I do get close, well, okay, battery up the inners or the outers, depending on which I left out. So you can save a little power there.
Oh, understood. But when you drop the outers or inners, isn't there at least like maybe a quarter impulse delay? Or
correct, there is.
Okay.
Yeah. So
not quarter, not impulse. Quarter turn, not quarter impulse.
Yeah.
It's like four. I'm thinking more like 4 impulse delay. I'm not sure if it's 4 or 8.
Yeah. But like, for example, I could start the game off with the inners down.
Right.
And if I'm doing an oblique maneuver and I'm not getting into range 8, then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
Or if I'm going against a plasma ship, which I don't expect to be able to hit me hard, or at least I'll have a lot of warning, I don't need to have both sets of shields up until I really need it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can run around for a while and save some power there.
Right.
And 1 point is 1 point, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, agreed.
Then I started looking at it going, the sensor scanner suites are completely different than Galactics. Also.
Because they're actually arc-based.
Yes, they are. So you have FX arc sensor scanners and RX sensor scanners. And you power them independently. And it's a half a point of power for the FXs and half a point for the RXs. So if you think you're not going to be needing one set, you don't have to power it. Mm-hmm. And that saves you a half a point of power.
Agreed.
So there's a couple of little tricks there that you can use to save a little power.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interesting thing is that unlike the Galactics, where you're going to very unlikely to get damage to a sensor scanner, this 1 point of damage can actually start to cause damage. It can start to cause
issues because of it's not like 6.6 when it comes to sensor ratings. It starts 6 and at least I'm looking at the Eneen right now and it's like 6420.
Yeah. And
one quick question. I'm assuming are the sensors when it comes to hit, are they based on shield facing? Like phasers.
They are directional like phasers.
Ooh,
yes.
Boy. That can be freaking nasty. Because just imagine you getting a sensor hit on your front sensor. Now, if their target is, sensor is for lock on. We assume that these, when you're playing Galactics, you always assume I got lock on all the time. It's not until you get down below 6 that you actually have to start rolling. Which means that you might not have lock on to ships that you want to fire at if they're in your FX arc. Well, FA arc. Because of your rear, because if they have, of course we have sensors which are RX, they're probably up to 6, and which means automatic lock on for anything in the RX arc.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
Also means that you probably want to put guards on all those sensor scanners.
Oh, agreed. Oh, I agree there, 100%. But
and it
Jeez.
takes twice as many guards.
Right. Right. But
But
come
and
on, come
that's
on.
something I've never considered before. Is like, putting guards on my sensor scanner track. Who does a hit and run raid on sensor scanner track? But now I'm thinking about it. That's probably a very legitimate target for a galactic.
Yeah, but here's the thing. How often do you actually have a sensor or a scanner hit in a galactic? I'm sure that's still rare
Rare,
for
rare.
LMC.
But what if I don't put guards there? If I've got like 6 hit and run raids, it's like I'll do them all against sensor.
Yep.
And there's a good chance that I might take 2 or 3 of them out.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I've never considered that tactic. I've never seen it used.
right.
But
Oh, agree. Because the thing is, you're lucky when it comes to a hit and run rate, to even get you get a single one, and you are able to successfully damage a sensor. On a galactic, that doesn't mean much, because even if the unlikely, because come on, hit and run raids are very unlikely as it stands. But then you have the
right.
additional unlikely to actually get to a sensor hit on the DAC.
Yeah. Right. But what I'm saying is with the galactic is like, okay, let's say I have 6 transporters and I fire and I use all 6 against the sensor array. And let's say I get 2 hits. Ooh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, actually,
or maybe I do them all against the scanner array. It's like, and the other guy's like, oh crap.
Right. That's actually one thing I had to look up when it comes to hit and run raids. Is I know for some, depending upon the system, you can attack individual boxes like phasers. You can attack individual boxes.
Yeah.
But like warp power, the warp engines, a hit and run raid against a single system is considered a single hit and run raid. I'm not sure if you can do multiple hit and run raid attacks in the same impulse.
Right. Now I know that one guard can protect the whole track.
Right. Which possibly means I have to check to see if it's possible when it comes to hit and run raids. And that is that you can actually do multiple hit and run raids on the same track on the same impulse, because otherwise it makes it a heck of a lot more difficult. Those 6 transporters, yeah, you can charge them, you can use them, but it might take you 6 impulses to go through.
Right. Yeah. And you're probably not going to have 6 impulses to do hit and runs. But certainly here, what the heck, you've got, each track you could certainly hit multiple tracks. So I could use one against the sensor, one against the scanner in the front, one against the sensor, one against the scanner in the rear.
Oh, yeah.
And chances are one of them is going to hit.
Oh, agreed. When it comes to LMC, it makes a heck of a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, that's why I'm saying, with Galactics are a heck of a lot harder to take advantage of. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Well, the Galactics, nobody, it is so rare to see a sensor or scanner hit. I've never seen a ship actually have, oh my God, I've got so much damage on my sensor scanner track that it's actually affecting me.
Right.
That is like unheard of.
Yeah, there's only a couple times I've seen that. And
that's
usually
here,
the only time I see it is when the ship is so gone that it's like, okay.
Yeah, at that point it doesn't matter.
Game's over.
Yeah, but here it was kind of like, and Ken had a valid point when he created all this. It was like, we've got these tracks, but it doesn't mean anything. It's a useless system. So we got So let me make it in some ways more fragile, in some ways more redundant. So I actually like that idea.
Mm-hmm. Oh, agreed. I agree that that's what Ken did overall when it comes to the LMC was new and definitely interesting and a different way of approaching system design, weapons design, defense. I think it has a heck of a lot more interesting things going on than the Omegas when it comes to overall new ideas.
Yes, I agree with that. And one other minor caveat that we did not discuss with the Magadeum last week was the lasers. In that,
I know we talked about
the Magadeum. Well, there was.
Yeah. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So we know bank boxes are 4 points of energy held in it, and all that. But one of the things that, and we talked about the fact that they damage plasmas at 3-to-1 instead of 2-to-1,
right?
So they're not as effective against plasmas, and they're also a little less effective against drones. But one thing we didn't discuss was, and I didn't realize that until I reread the rules tonight, was that you cannot downfire a medium laser as a light.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which means
medium lasers always have to.
Right. And more to the point is that you can't save power in your banks if you want to use them for defensive firing.
Correct. Although the fact that you pretty much need to fire them as a medium laser anyway, because the light lasers just don't have a good chance of taking out a drone.
Oh, and again, I don't see them. Well, in theory, they could be fighting against galactics, but that's a rare thing. I still. I'm more when it comes to LMC. I'm more concerned about LMC versus LMC and less against other either galactics or omegas.
Well, yes, but the other thing to keep in mind is that during Operation Unity, there were some LMCs that might have been fighting galactics.
Well,
now usually they were allied.
Okay. My understanding is that I don't think the LMC empires were overall were fighting the galactics. They were still just trying to survive because of the Andromedans and the Andromedan invasion.
Yeah. They would have seen the galactics as allies. Oh, they're taking out the Andromedans who are like devastating us. Why are we ever going to fight them?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, after the Andromedans are vanquished from the LMC, then I can see that there might be a possibility that there might be some conflict. But overall, I think at that point, the LMC empires are more concerned about rebuilding. And I don't think...
Yes, yeah.
Overall, the galactic empires are looking to expand into the LMC. At that point.
They were just there to take out the Andromedans and done.
Right. Now,
doesn't mean that
someone from the galactic empires could try to take advantage of it. So.
Yeah. I think there were a couple of scenarios where there might have been a battle or two, but it was pretty minor.
Oh yeah. Because I can easily see them initially with as another set of invaders into the LMC. I can easily see that. Yeah. Until they actually sat down and talked.
Right. Okay. Having said all that, now going back to the Eneen. So it's got lasers, And the firing arcs of the lasers are, in fact, all its weapons, the firing arcs are very much left and right, and rear.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have too much design to fire straight forward. That is a ship that's designed for the oblique attack.
Oh, agreed. Especially with the neutron beams.
Yes.
Dang, man.
And the neutron beams, I'm looking at that, and that's a fleet weapon. That's not a single ship weapon.
Agreed.
It's actually, now, there's...
Yeah, overall, it can be, but it can be a single ship weapon, I think. Obviously, the interesting part about the neutron beams are, of course, the two different modes. For one, which one?
Yes.
How do you want to go? Do you basically? Do you feel lucky? Is the way I see it. With the narrow beams, okay, yeah, you can get more damage in theory, like when you're rolling the higher numbers, but there's also the chance of you completely and utterly miss.
Yes.
So, are you willing to, if you happen to roll badly, actually give some damage, or do you want to say, okay, well, if I roll like in the middle, I'll actually do better? You know, which one do you want? You know, that's why I call it, right. Do you feel lucky when it comes to the narrow beams?
Yeah.
Now, of course, the tough part about the neutron beams themselves is two things. Number one, it costs 5. That's 5 points of energy.
Oh, I know. They're very expensive.
And that's single turn arming, and there's no holding.
That's right. Although, if you discharge it, you can arm it again the following turn.
No,
but
you can't.
Yeah, it's expensive to arm. You can't hold it. And if you do fire it, there's a cooldown, just like a fusion.
Exactly. There's a cooldown period, which means
you only have...
Which is...
you only have 2 in each arc. And so they're expensive. And they really don't do that much damage.
I disagree with
that.
Well,
now the chart in the there's a PDF chart that I have that was one of the ones that Ken Burnside created, and that chart is wrong. The one in the book and the SSD book are correct.
Right, which means out to range 6, they do 12 points of damage per neutron beam. Which, come on, that's better than an overloaded disruptor.
Yes, narrow beam. I think narrow beam does what out to range 6.
So a narrow beam does 12. A wide aperture beam can do 12, but it can go as low as 4.
Right.
Now, to hit a narrow beam on a range 6 is 1 to 4, which is not bad.
Hang on a second.
In the LMC ebook, it's okay. It's on page 16 where they have all the weapons charts.
Yes.
So overall, they're not bad. Okay, let me just look at something real quick, which was the neutron beam. Okay, because the cooldown period was requires 1 turn of cooling. So basically, it's like a fusion beam in that respect that requires a whole after you fire it. It requires a whole turn of cooling.
Yeah. Well, range 6. Now, a 2/3 chance of hitting it does 12 points of damage. Yeah, I guess that's better than a disruptor.
Right. It's 50% better than a disruptor, overloaded disruptor. And it costs 1 point more than an overloaded disruptor, i.e., 25% more power. Now,
yeah, okay.
Of course, the tough part about this is that there is no like lower power mode like disruptors.
No.
So that if you do in theory, if you want to, you can do a partial charge. So you can, if you want to, you can discharge.
Contingent arming, yeah.
Right. You can discharge if you don't if you don't completely arm it, i.e., you don't fire it. But obviously that also uses up. You have to pre-allocate the reserve power for weapons.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So if your battery is completely gets drained because of I need to have that last point of reinforcement versus putting that last point of energy into the neutron beam because it's out of arc. That means that's 4 points of energy going to waste. But of course that's better. It's better 4 points of energy going to waste than 5 points of energy going to waste.
Right, and you have 2 that are LFL and 2 that are RFR. So even though it does more than a disruptor at that range, I guess you only have half as many.
Right. In theory, if you centerline your enemy, yes, you can get all 4. But
yeah.
Firing all 4 is 20 points of power. And you only have 42. Right. That's half your power is gone to this one weapon. Well, 4 weapons, but you get the point.
Is that if you've got them centerlined in the front, you only have 3 medium lasers that bear in that arc. Half your medium lasers do not reach the front arc.
That is true.
Over half. Yeah. Over half of your medium lasers do not get to the front arc.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Hey, yay! Turn mode C.
Yeah.
I only say that because of the different empires we have reviewed over the past few weeks, it seems like both the Omega and LMC, they all have a turn mode of D.
A lot of them do.
Yeah, it's like, come on, is there anybody who actually has a ship that actually has some maneuverability? Really?
Well, not only does it have maneuverability, but it has the advantage of a frax in that it likes to go on the oblique, which means that it doesn't need to turn as far after it's done.
Right.
That's a huge advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that it has a heck of a lot of firepower out the rear.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking about which,
if
you look at it,
there's plasma E's, which are interesting.
Plasma E's are in the rear,
right?
And the plasma E's, I think, are better than a plasma F. In the sense that yes, it's costs just as much to arm a plasma E as a plasma F, but it arms in 2 turns instead of 3.
That is true. It's like a fast-loading arming F.
Well, its first turn is cost of 2, second turn is cost of 3, and then it holds for free. Right. And it's basically a 3/4 strength plasma F.
Right.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think some of the Galactics would love to have a plasma E.
Absolutely. I've shot my wad. I'm running. Oh, I'll drop a Oh, you want to chase me? Eat a plasma.
Oh, agreed.
I could.
The plasma E's are definitely the with those arcs that it has, which is the LPRs and RPRs. They're definitely designed as a defensive weapon. You know.
Yes.
Either
That
for
is, don't
deterrent,
chase me.
right?
I'm
Right.
gonna rearm.
Either deterrent for that, or actually, do the LMC actually have any fighters? Actually, they do, because I've seen
The
them mentioned.
Magadium does. Magadium does.
Actually, yeah, okay. Do the Magadium have plasma E's? The only reason I mention that is because I noticed in the rules they actually do mention fighters and plasma E's. So it's possible that maybe it was that rule was designed for like a future a future module for LMC, where they have introduced fighters for some of the empires.
Well, hang on a second. I'm looking at there's a fighter refit for the Eneen. So.
Yeah, but that's the one thing I was going to point out. Was this,
the Eneen do have fighters. So let's see what the fighters do. Let's see.
But what I was going to point out is that given the firing arcs, not just for don't chase me, but also in the case of attrition units, i.e., fighters, because I don't see any mention at all of like PF / gunboats.
Well, let's
in
see
LMC.
what the.
Of course, they were pretty beat up pretty early on in their overall ship development. And they didn't have a need for gunboats and PFs for the most part. By the time they needed them, which was when the Andromeda's attack, it was kind of too late.
Okay, Eneen has a PAS fighter. Mm-hmm. Its speed is 15. It has a 360 light laser. Mm-hmm. It has a plasma EFA.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's like
so it's basic a Goran fighter or something like that.
Right, or Romulan. I was thinking, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it's a plasma E, so it's lighter armed than a Goran or a Rom.
Right.
It's got
right. Plasma E versus a plasma F. Yeah.
Yeah. Speed 15 is not that bad.
Oh yeah.
You're 188, so.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, one thing I was actually thinking about, which is, of course, the whole issue with the LMC and the Andromedans, in that the key, the top part for Ken when it comes to designing the LMC was to make them so they were unique in their design, but at the same time, they can't be too strong because they have to be able to be defeated by the Andromedans.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, this ship, now the CA version, and I guess the ones we're playing with have the Plus and the Year 175 refit. So that works out to about 149 BPV, and I'm just not seeing this thing being a 149 BPV ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
Oh, understood.
I just don't see it.
It's I would think most of that has to do with the neutron beams.
Once you get outside of range 6, those neutron beams get half strength.
Oh, I agree.
Although at range 20, they're not bad.
Oh, agreed. 50%. If you're a narrow aperture, that's going to be 50% to hit, and it does 6 points of damage.
Yeah, out to range 20.
Out to range 20.
Yeah.
And with a wide aperture, you can go from 6 all the way down to 3. And that's, that,
Or 0.
Or you can do,
you
you can do 0 if you roll a 6. That is true.
Yeah, but your chances are that you're going to be doing 3.
Right.
So you average 3 with the wide beam.
And on that distance, I would. If I was firing at that distance, which I think at that distance, what you're doing is you're doing fleet battles at that point.
Yes,
you're not doing narrow. You're doing a wide aperture at that point.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to take the chances on missing. Basically, the chance of missing completely is not worth it. Because the dice can be average overall. It's it should be 3 points of damage. Average overall. But we all know the finickiness of a die roll. We all know it. We've been there. We've all done it where we've rolled 2 6s for a hellbore at range 1. And we completely miss. So,
that's when you're going, crap.
Yeah, exactly. That's why at that point, it's like, no. If I have the chance to fire at range 20, with a fleet of these things, I am not going to be letting the die gods, play with me. It's like, no, they're all they'll be wide. I'll take the 3, and if I roll a 1, I'll take the 6. But it is what it is.
Right.
Obviously, if I'm really, I think the die roll gods will be with me. Yeah, maybe I'll go for the narrow, but I don't think so. I don't trust them. They're critically sort of gods,
Yeah.
But
yeah. So.
Yeah, the elements say overall the different empires are definitely interesting because of obviously the shielding, but also, as we just pointed out tonight, the sensors and scanners that they're arc based, which makes things quite, when it comes to tactics. You might not think it changes that much, but it does. Because now, for standard, tournament play, we've got 12 guards that we're allowed to assign. All of a sudden, 25% of your guards, 25? No, it's a third. Sorry, it's a third of your guards are probably best suited to actually protecting your sensors and your scanners.
Yeah. That's huge.
Right. Obviously some of the other ones are kind of obvious of what you're going to use them for. And Lord knows you
bank boxes.
Oh yeah, I figure you're probably protecting your neutron beams and probably your plasma E's.
But you probably don't have to protect all your bank boxes because you really only need 2 of them, and they're cheap to repair.
That is true. Okay, how many bank boxes?
Yeah.
Okay, this has 3 bank boxes. Okay.
3 bank boxes.
That's 12 points of power.
Right. And every third phaser hit is a bank box.
Yeah, that hurts, man. That just freaking hurts.
Does it though? Well, think about this though. You've got 7 medium lasers and 4 light lasers. So that's 11 laser boxes plus the 4 bank boxes. That's 14 laser system boxes, 14 phaser hits you can take. Heck, the Zinti can only take 12.
Yeah.
The Fed can only take 10. The Celtorian can take 12 phaser hits.
Yeah.
Who else can do 14 phaser hits before you're out of phaser systems?
Agreed.
And the most common ones to get hit, really don't affect your offensive potential, and they're cheap to repair.
Right. True. But that also means that when it comes to repairing a system box, you might be repairing your banks the most. And obviously here's the gotcha for the banks. Yeah, you can take one bank hit and you should be okay. Yeah. But it's that second bank hit that will really affect you, because you go from having the ability to have 8 points of power, so firing possibly 8 medium lasers or 16 light lasers. It basically will cover every single laser you have on the ship. If you're down to only one bank, that's 4. That really limits you.
Yeah, but by the time you've taken 2 bank boxes, you've taken 4 other laser hits.
Right.
So, yeah, 1 bank box can probably support your remaining lasers. Because you're not going to be able to get them all in arc at once. And if you've taken 6 phaser hits, you've got some serious damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, overall, obviously, there's the whole Mizzy attack thing that could wipe that out pretty quickly.
It's still more. Let's see.
But with VRF and the secondary shields,
third bank box, you need to take your 9th laser hit is where you get your 3rd bank box down. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I have lasers remaining and no bank boxes,
right.
But I can repair those bank boxes pretty quickly. So okay. On the other hand, I have starting off, I have 12 power stored in my lasers. Nobody else
stored in your banks, yeah.
Phaser. Nobody else has a phaser capacitor of 12.
Right.
The Stealth is got 10.
Oh.
And that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true.
Yeah. So you've got 42 power on the ship. Now, there's another place where you're vulnerable. You probably want to put guards on your HPRs. Because there's another place to do a hit and run raid, because that can chain it.
Well, actually, yeah, but okay, for normal play, yeah, but chain reactions are not in tournament play. So if you're playing this in a tournament,
they're not.
No, they're not. We don't do chain reactions.
Oh,
that's one.
Wow. Okay. Still, the HPRs. I don't. What's the cost of repair of an HPR?
4.
4, just like an APR?
Yep.
Oh. But certainly that's one to take out because it gets 2 points of power.
Oh, agreed there. And especially with a power-hungry ship. You know, meaning because those neutron beams just
Oh yeah,
they just suck the
they
power out.
are. Yeah, they are the. Although to tell you the truth,
Oh yeah,
you're probably not going to be firing more than 2 in a turn. That's only 10 points of power.
Yeah, that's true. That I was just thinking about that myself, and I agree that most probably you're only going to be firing 2 of them, which is 10, which is not too bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that also limits the amount of damage you can actually do to your opponent.
Yeah. You can't afford to fire them all, and you can't get them all in arc anyway.
Right. Well, as I said, you can if you center line them. Yeah, you can. It's a rare instance because that's obviously your opponent's going to be doing its best not to get center lined.
Right.
But you should be able to do it every once in a while. But at that point, the question is, will you have the power to fire them? All 4 of them, that is.
You're not going to be going very fast.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's one of those times that you have to be not moving very fast, and probably I would think you'd have to control the center of the board at that point, so that you can go at a slower speed and still get the center line.
Yeah, the other thing is that if you're doing 4 of them in one turn, A, you're not going fast, and B, you have to your plasmas are out of arc, and most of your light medium lasers are out of arc. That's not where you want to be.
Yeah, well, but at the same time, since the neutron beams can do a heck of a lot more damage than the medium lasers, because the medium lasers, let's look at them at range 6, maximum a range of 4 points of damage per.
Yes.
And you can get on the oblique, you can get 4 to hit. Now that's going to be a little less than a neutron beam, if assuming that neutron beam hits and that's narrow. There's 2 pretty big ifs there. I agree.
Right.
But at the same time, if you got center line, you're gonna take that chance, because if you can get at range 6 and you get to 12 points of damage at range 6, that's 48 points of damage. That's that's gonna hurt.
It is, but you can't do it again the following turn because there's a cooldown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true. That is true. That is the one downside about if you fire all 4 in the same turn, which is you have to wait for you. Basically, your I was gonna say weaponless, but that's not the case. It's just,
you turn, you run, and if he chases you, you start dropping plasmas.
Right. Agreed.
You're not weaponless.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, that's why I was about to say it, and I realized I was being foolish.
And the other thing is that if you're running and you're not charging the neutron beams, you got real quick, real fast.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. Probably be max. Yeah. Assuming that you're not charging anything else. No. Okay. Meaning that you're just doing housekeeping, and you're moving as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And you fire your neutron beams, and basically so that your banks are full. Your plasma E's are ready. So the zero holding. Your max
Right.
speed is going to be like 18.
Mm.
Because
Right.
okay. That close, you're gonna have normal shielding up.
Yeah.
In theory, you could save half a point, but it's not going to give you any more power, any more speed, because it's only half a point.
Right. Yeah. So you're going 18, but is somebody going to be chasing you down when you're dropping plasmas at them?
Oh, agreed. Oh, I agree. And 18 is actually good for, as I said, the situation where you might get a center line, which to me means that you are in the center of the board. Your opponent is running around the outside of the board. That's when you could actually get center line. At least that's the way I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the outside and your opponent's chasing you, you're never gonna. That's not gonna happen. In which case, then becomes the whole issue, the fun issue, which I had to deal with, which is, okay, you're probably firing the same two again and again and again because you're probably going to go round and round and round each other the same direction. Because the toughest part about the battle passes overall, especially when you have two opponents that are tight, they're not going to go off to their little corner of the board and repair their ship and come back. Where you want to keep up the heat against your opponent. You're just going to go round and round and round and round. Tough part is going round and round. Okay, I need to change shields now. I can't go round and round. Have my down shield number 2. I need to be on my shield number 6. Changing directions is not easy if you don't want to use your head. Obviously, you can use your head, but then you just use your head and you're in trouble. You decide that what your emergency get out of jail free card is now gone.
Right. So that it's very expensive to be able to fire all 4 neutron beams. What you may end up doing is coming in, say on the left or the right side, not have them center line, fire 2 neutron beams, turn into him, bring the other 2 into arc, and fire them.
Right.
And I've seen that kind of maneuver also.
Oh, yeah.
The funny thing about that ship is the number 1 shield is probably going to be the one that that's the one you don't want to protect. That's the one you don't need.
Understood.
If that ship is fighting out with number 1 shield, it's doing something wrong.
Oh, understood that most of the time it won't be. But
in fact, it would have made sense to reverse things and have the numbers 3, 4, and 5 shields be stronger, and the 1, 2, and 6 shields be weaker. But that's not the way it's designed.
Right. Yeah, because still you want that strong shield number 1, because that's going to be facing your opponent, when you come in. Obviously, your opponent's going to want to wait for the side shield. But but I agree when it comes to the whole idea of the firing and then turning it and firing the other side. I agree with that, especially if you can time it. If you can time it to be over a turn break, where you hit them. Especially the first battle pass is relatively simple for that to do, assuming that your opponent cooperates to a certain degree, where he also comes straight in, and so you're both within combat range before the end of the turn. Obviously,
Yeah.
the latter quarter. Now, obviously, after you turn, your opponent's also going to turn and bring up a new shield.
Right.
So, that's the reason why you want a center line is because you can get all the damage on a single shield.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as you pointed out, the having only firing 2 per turn means you always have 2 available for you on any turn. Now the question is, obviously, do you want to be charging your neutron beams every single turn?
Right.
Because
you can't.
Well, in theory, you can. You can fire. You can charge.
No, there's a cooldown.
Yeah, but no, you can charge 2 of them every single turn. But do you want to spend the money to charge 2 of them every single turn?
It's not a bad place to be. I mean, if you think about it,
Right.
It's 10 points of power. That's a little bit more than a Klingon spends on non-overloads. And you've got 42 power.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree, but at the same time, if
you can be moving pretty fast.
Yes, if you're going to keep the pressure on your opponent and you plan on attacking every single turn, yes, charging it is a good idea. But if you ever kind of take a break from combat, ease back a little bit and repair, assuming that your opponent will allow you to, maybe the 10 points of power is better put into like reinforcement. That's all I'm saying.
Repair on that. Repair is cheaper on that ship than reinforcement.
Understood.
Yeah. Yeah, they inverted that paradigm on galactic ships. Reinforcement's cheap, repair is expensive. This one, it's the opposite.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the whole idea of reinforcement is to prevent internals to your ship. If you don't have as much.
Well, yes.
But I understand that the VRF, the volley reduction factor, should help to alleviate some of that issue. That's the whole idea of the volley reduction factor, is so that those big volleys. I forget what is the idea is to reduce those big volleys, and force you to use smaller volleys. So the VRF isn't as big.
Yeah.
You can get,
and the VRF is.
And the VRF,
that ship actually wants to dance, kind of like a plasma bucket. It's the direct fire equivalent of a plasma ballet, although it does have plasma, so it can successfully do the ballet.
Right. The weird part is that the plasma E's and their firing arcs remind me of the ISC.
Yes, they do.
It's kind of a combination of seeking and direct fire weapons, which is kind of like what the IC is. I mean, main weapons, they're heavy weapons. Obviously, you can say that about a Sinti, where it's got the drones and the disruptors.
Yeah.
But drones are drones. They're easily knocked down, but you usually have more of them, which means even more. And more importantly, they last longer. That's why especially drones, I consider them mobile terrain. The whole idea is to control your movement of your opponent.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we will wrap up this evening. Barry, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Same here. Yeah, same here.
And
Batavai for next week.
What one for next week?
The Batavai?
Batavan sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll do that. Okay.
Okie doke.
See you next week.
See you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So we had a nice little discussion about the Eneen and also some corrections to our LMC understanding. Unfortunately, I had not looked up all those things that Barry had previously mentioned, when it comes to the shield, and so I was also in the dark. So I was going from Barry's memory. I was more concerned about the weapon systems and so forth for the Makadim last week, and I was focusing this week also on the weapon systems and overall power of the ship. The Eneen, I think, are quite an interesting empire. The ship design, as I said, it reminds me of the IC. It's very good for attacking, and obviously it has good defense, both against your opponents, because unlike the IC, the plasma E's on the ship, on this lovely ship here, they're not limited when it comes to firing. So they're not specifically designed for fighting attrition units. They're designed for defense, in my mind, because of the firing arcs. Simple. Yes, you can use them in an oblique attack, but at the same time, you wouldn't overall. Why use it as part of your main attack, except for in the case of if you want to, per se, have it so that either the whole idea of firing drones so that you're either leading them or becoming, or they're leading, or they're in front of you. In which case, in the other case, the opponent has to make a decision. Now, the tougher part, obviously, with the Plasma E is their arcs. In that, in theory, yeah, you can basically fire it and then you can turn away and then launch a Plasma E and basically discourage your opponent from deciding to actually follow behind you. And I think that actually is a very good tactic overall when it comes to a battle pass in the Eneen. So that would be probably the best approach. Now the question is that, like any other plasma, do you run it out, let it hit your shields, and then keep on coming? Obviously, if you do that, you can launch the other Plasma E. But you only could do that so many times before you're out of Plasma E's when you're doing a battle pass. It still takes 2 turns to arm a Plasma E. Obviously, you can, if you trade on and off every single turn when it comes to the number of neutron beams, on and off, go from left side to right side, you're good. You can actually keep that up, left side, right side, and one Plasma E, and just keep on going back and forth. And that actually would be an overall good strategy. Now, of course, the question is whether your opponent will let you do that. My guess is no. At some point, you're going to get into a situation where that will not work anymore. Obviously, he's going to want to try to keep on the one side where you already have launched weapons. And so they only have to face your medium lasers and your light lasers at that point. So, with that, I am Paul Franz, and I bid you a good night.